that's paying us the Yales, the UNHs, the Acorns, and that stuff that's very time-consuming during
Yeah.
inspections. And we have to be in the building department in the morning for our permit hours,
And then
and you can't
inspections.
have enough
by
people
what?
at that counter sometimes, and, you know, trying to cycle things through. So it was really a staffing problem. Anything can be done. When you say the Little City Initiative,
It's like-
how many inspectors they have there?
Yeah,
16?
that's what it is, yeah.
16, 17 inspectors, just for that.
Just for that, that's
And
not
they
the building
can't get to
department.
all of them either, because as you see, they're getting into buildings and closing them, when the building probably should have been closed a year ago, as it's evident, it was in the papers, and so on and so forth. So it takes quite a staff to do that,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're probably getting paid for it with the monies that are being charged. But again, it's just, you gotta have people to do it.
Thank you.
We also, just to take it a step further, we looked at charging for plan reviews, a separate fee for plan reviews on the Yale projects or big projects. But again, there's a demand, because if you're paying me or paying the city X amount of dollars because you want that permit by that date, in the meantime, we have 3 fires or other projects going on, and I can't meet that demand, for me, I get guilty, because you're paying for a service that I can't deliver. So we gotta be careful, we talk about this a lot, what we can offer, can we produce? If we can, I feel we shouldn't be asking for that. But we can always sit down, we got a game plan going, if the city says, okay, guys, let's do it, you can work on Saturdays. I'm using that as an example.
Right.
Well, who's gonna pay for that? It comes out of the budget. Is it worth it? Well, we gotta come to you guys and say, listen, if we do that, we could take in 10 grand, it's gonna cost you 4 grand to take in 10, you're up 6. That's a pretty good deal. We don't have those numbers to give you, but that's the way, I think that's the way you want it. Living Initiative, on average, $100 a pop to do an inspection. How many do you think, Frank? Well, probably at the end of the year, maybe we do 500. Okay, 500, Lloyd and I sit down with the staff. How long does it take? By the time we get there, it costs, it's gonna take so many hours. The re-inspection, so many hours. The guy's a dummy. We gotta go back there 6 times. We're so upset with the guy, we're gonna take him to court now. If he gets a lawyer, he's gonna sue us because I stepped on his cat or something. I mean, these things just go on, and they're not, and I respect it.
You know, and I think those guys are just doing that. They're not
You are
doing
right.
Right, they're not
anything
doing-
else.
It'd be a separate, almost department for
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and
So,
staff.
on the same thing, and I might be a little ignorant about this, but, so for the properties that we have that, maybe we have like Section 8 folks living in them,
Sure.
are there inspections? Who inspects
That's a
those?
different
That's a
department.
different,
That's housing?
That's-
HUD does.
Oh,
that.
that's separate, okay.
Now, going way back in time, we'll keep it in the room. HUD was doing inspections. We were getting calls on inspection. Who the heck did that inspection? Well, HUD was here and passed it. We were getting teed off, and we flirted with the idea of doing HUD inspections to get monies for it. Then finally, I hit myself in the head and I said, "What the hell am I doing here? You know, we're doing federal inspections to try to get a nickel to save the world. It just didn't make sense." So we backed away from that, let HUD do their inspections, and we just do ours. But we kicked around a tremendous lot of different ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we do, and just so you know, we are working, you know, we're trying to work as best as we could too, because there are times that we do get calls between a tenant and a landlord issue, where we have to send staff to respond to. And depending on the situation, the city may have to remove that tenant and put them somewhere. And where do we get that money? So we've been trying, and this staff does a phenomenal job. And just so you know, that's Lloyd Adams, who's the assistant building official also. But, you know, we try to work really holding hands between the tenants and the landlords, because we don't want to be the eviction. That's not our job, and we're very clear on that. But there are cases where people try to do that, or the tenants are trying to make some money. And it makes it very difficult. That's a fine line, obviously. But the staff is very well-versed, and their experience is second to none to dealing with situations like that.
If I could just chime in with what Fred said, we could talk for hours.
Yeah, we could bore you with this stuff, but.
Well, tie in what Fred said, and we flirted with the idea. You're talking about living initiative, that concept.
Yeah.
taking that money, put it in a lockbox. So what Fred just said, when we have to tell someone you cannot stay there, you got a 5-year-old daughter, you don't have heat, we're gonna put you up at the
We have to
hotel.
take 'em.
Now we got the money to do it. Right now, we're taking out of human resources, and their fund is like this, shrink, shrink, shrink. So, we're talking, but we just haven't really brought it, I guess, to you guys too, to get your blessings.
But you realize in situations like that, we can't decide, we can't make it, is there money in the budget for this? We have to,
Do turn.
they have to respond. It's, you know, and then we try to figure out how
I'll do it.
we fit in, so.
Thank you.
You keep bringing up revenue options. I love revenue that's not tax related. Could you provide me like a list of options of projected revenue? So like those programs, give us an idea of how much you could possibly bring in if you were to add a person or so.
Sure, kind of, and I say this politely, but kind of a wish list, pie in the sky, if this happens,
Yeah.
based on our experience, I could give you.
I think we have to be creative at this point in time.
Yeah, that's fine. But again, every time we do something, just so we're clear, it takes us away from
Yeah.
that, whatever that is. Well, that's that $50 million project, whatever that project is. That $50 million project probably is gonna take you maybe, heck, 2 weeks of plan review, maybe even more.
Project you pointed to Haven or Allentown?
No, anywhere.
Oh, all right.
Anywhere.
I'm like,
Anywhere.
that's my next question. Is
Anyway.
the Haven, any word on revenue from that?
I don't,
I mean, I'll leave it to the mayor to answer on that, I think, but there'll be something being announced soon, I think.
Okay. Otherwise, like my district, they want to hear from Matt Armstrong and the developers. If that happens before that, great, but they're rightfully perturbed by the length of time this is taking. And some of them are about to go out there and protest because they got aggravated because they have enough time to go up to Hamden for a meeting for other developers, but not enough time they can talk to us. That is all.
Yeah, no, I'll stand down.
hey, that list you're talking about, I think I get the spirit of what you're talking about. I'll probably give that to our commissioner,
Yeah.
and then he'll filter it.
Thank you.
Fred, now maybe Frank can answer this, or either you. Non-resident owners of homes that live in New York, everywhere but the city of West Haven, they're renting homes, 2-family, 3-family. They get hit with blight. Can we increase the blight charges to them for $150 instead of $100?
That's illegal.
Yeah,
We haven't, we haven't,
I
chief.
don't even know how we,
Yeah, if we were to, it might be, I think Lloyd's comment is, and I would support it, we'd probably have to speak to Lee Turner to get approval on that. Are we picking on New Yorkers for using,
or
what you said,
whomever,
that?
out of state.
Yeah, out of state.
Well, you know, you can see right
I don't-
across the street, the way the building's kept up there. The guy lives in New York and the building's a shamble, got nothing but broken pipes. People moved out of there because the place is a shamble in there, and you're getting away with it. And then you wanna know why the city looks the way it looks.
Yeah.
You know, and even around Allentown too, because 99% of the people in Allentown in the flats, and you know and I know it, nobody owns the houses there, they're all rented. My other question is this, you mentioned about technology. The fire service, when I was in the fire service, we all had to move up to technology. And we didn't have the money to put out right away to do the technology. What we did is we got an IT company and we rented our computers at the time. And as you know, computers only last so many years and then they turn around, you can upgrade them automatically.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a charge when you upgrade them, but this company keeps up with it and you have a computer every 4 years, you know, to keep up with the times, if you wanna look into it. something like
That's
that.
a good comment, chief. I didn't know that was out there. Is that something, would Mike know that, Fire Marshal Esposito?
Yeah, he should know that.
Well, and again, I think you'll have an opportunity maybe from our comments too in April 25th when IT comes. That's the department I think that we all look at, right?
Sure.
In terms of technology, not to say they're not doing a good job, but I don't know what the protocol is, if we could just get the equipment ourselves, or I think we need to run it through that department and then they filter it down.
One more question. You guys know anything about going on with Derby Avenue and Forest Road, Infinity? Because I noticed last week the old Infinity was loaded with cars and all of a sudden they're all gone. Did you hear anything about that? Being sold or anything like that?
I have.
Infinity built a new building in North
Yeah, I
Haven.
know, they moved out, but they were putting
That
all their
portion
heat.
of it, but they still own the property, and I believe they're gonna be using it for either overflow of the Nissan.
Well,
or
they did,
used.
now they cleaned them all up.
Yeah.
That is vacant. I was wondering if you heard,
I haven't heard anything.
Nothing's come to us.
okay, thanks, John.
But I believe they're gonna retain ownership of the property, what they're gonna use it for, we're not
Anyone else have any other questions? I have a question about one of these, it says, 42,
Yeah,
economic development consultant.
mhm.
It says mayor's recommended 0 for that position. Does that mean that you cut the position?
Well, it wasn't a position from my understanding, I think it was just consultants that, you know, if we're doing some planning, we can hire a firm. I don't think it was an actual position.
So $30,000 is being spent on,
I wasn't here, so I would guess that that was probably for,
Well, for example, I remember when Stiles School was coming up, there was an interest in having an appraisal done for our own purposes. There was also a study done of the environmental contaminants and
Yeah.
conditions of the school. So I think it was a fund that was used to look at any kind of due diligence that was required for public property we were dealing with, or if it had to do with private property where we wanted to be able to have some assistance with evaluating how we approach it.
but now it's 0, so are you comfortable with that?
well, our request was for 30,000. I mean, but,
So how would you do these requests? There was another one I was looking at too. Well, actually, engineering costs and plan and development, she cut that in half too,
right.
to 15,000. What is that?
Again, that's for doing some preliminary work. For instance, when we're looking at doing the bike path on Railroad Avenue, there are soft costs that have to be inherited by the city, that this is what the account would cover. If you're working with a consultant or an engineer to do some preliminary work before we submit it for a formal plan. So my guess is that that's what that account would be used for, at least that's how I would use it. And we're still, you know, there's still some bills that have come to my desk that still have to be paid, that,
Is there any line items in here that you would be comfortable cutting?
you know, I think where we're at with the recommendation is something we could probably work with efficiently for this year. It's very difficult, again, just going back to what I stated about the timing of when I came in and the budget was being required. I'm gonna make it work, I mean, that's all I could say. Obviously, if I could get more money or money put back in that was cut, I would appreciate it, because I think that would be helpful, but I also realize the state of the city, and it'd be very difficult for me to stand here and ask for something without giving you a clear, concise answer. I think it wouldn't be prudent and fair to the residents, so. That's the best I could tell you. I mean, I
No,
hope
I'm
that
just
answers
asking
it.
if you
Yeah.
got cut more, is there any area you think that, you know, you'd be able to work with a cut?
I mean, we're on a pretty, you know, I know it looks like a larger budget that we have, but if you really, you know, things that are been cut already, I think it's gonna be difficult to take anything else out of them. And some of the other ones are being utilized to the number that's there. Besides our salaries, everything else, you know, advertising, it is what it is, you know, it's not something I could change. I'm gonna try to make the convention and dues one that was already reduced by 50% to work with whatever dues that we should be members of that we might not have been members in the past, and I don't know, you know, what those numbers are gonna come in yet, because I'm still waiting to find out.
Okay, well, and then I just wanna say about the flex hours, because a council person that wasn't here did want to ask about that, and, you know, it does make a lot of sense, starting early. Most of them wanna come in the doors early. I think that that would be something great, like at 7 or 8 o'clock, and it would make us look like a bit more of a friendly city.
So you're saying start the workday earlier but end earlier also?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Or even if you could scatter one to the other, so somebody is in earlier, like you say, you're here anyways giving the hours, why not be paid for them?
Yeah.
And then somebody come in early, someone come in a little later.
Sure, again, we have talked about that in the past, we just never really harnessed it and said, okay, let's start doing it. We always talked about doing it during the summertime, because that's really when the boys are out there, right, the construction people. So it sounds like the spirit here is to give it a close look, so with the mayor's blessing and the commissioner, we'll probably incorporate something once we get this
Yes,
down.
I'd love to do that.
Thank
Love to do it for the public.
Yeah, and just last, I'd just like to get maybe some clarification, if you could, in terms of the grant administration, to advise if it stays under my tutelage, or if it goes, that line item goes under the finance department.
Let me just, if I can make a comment on that. So that really, I mean, that really would be a decision that's made by the mayor.
Okay.
You know, where who the supervisor of that grant, I don't know what the job description says. Usually the job description will say that you report to so-and-so. So if it says that they report to the commissioner of planning and development, then you're gonna have to work towards a job description change, and if they're in the union and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it would really be something that'll be handled by the executive and not us.
That's,
All in.
yeah,
I wanted to go early. I remember we had talked about it, just with all the other meetings, we haven't gone back there, because I want to talk to actually all of you, because you're the ones that deal with it. And I've always thought that it was a great thing, because most builders or most people that are doing construction want to be there, want to be done with the paperwork part and on the job site earlier, not like at noon or 11 or anything like that, so.
But it does take a staff.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's not like you can have Lloyd come in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lloyd needs somebody from zoning in. We're gonna need a secretary in, so it takes a staff. It's not just a one person show up and go home early or whatever. It's the staff that has to do it, so that's the coordination that comes. And contractually, we have flex hours, so that's good, because in the contract it says that 9 to 5.
and just getting back to what we talked about with the grants, I think we got off for a minute on the hours, which I guess everybody's excited about. What I was just trying to be clear to the council, or at least the finance board, regarding the grants administration, I understand it's the mayor's, I guess, decision, but I just wanted to be clear on terms of that line item of the 66,971, even though it falls under my purview currently, the way it's set up, that staff does not answer to me, it answers to the finance department. And I don't even regulate the timesheets on that, so to me, it's a line item that it's like I'm an uncle, and I'm paying. You got what I'm saying? But I'm not seeing anything, I'm not getting the report card, I don't think there's anything going wrong, I'm just saying it just for, you know, logistics.
money.
It should just be clear and concise, one way or the other, that's all I ask. So I think if it stays the way it is, we should take that line item and put it in the finance department, is all I'm saying. So that you don't think that there's another 70,000 in my
Right.
budget when there isn't, that's all. I just wanted to note it on record, that's all.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
that money.
I'm sorry that we ran longer than the, oh boy, a lot of time.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, Abdul. Abdul was gonna leave. You got tired of waiting here. How are you, Frank? You bring you back? You're up to bat. I did. Good luck.
Say this one next.
Mayor, is Louis,
Better not
is he
sitting
down
in
there?
traffic. Better not sitting in traffic.
Why don't you shut this up?
Yeah, look at that from